Good morning. Welcome back to week 6 of the training for UTMB Snowdon 55k race in May. You joined me here on a spectacular day, not in the Surrey Hills. We are getting the miles in and practicing some of the things I said I needed to practice, like the quick steps and quick cadence running downhill, and generally getting it done. It's a relatively low week on the kilometre front this week. It's a bit of a filler week really, just before I have another big event booked for next weekend, which is the Tech Lulworth Cove half marathon. So that was a race I was going to do a couple of years ago, but I cancelled it because I thought it was too hilly, ironically. But anyway, so going down to do that, the Tech half marathon next week, and then a few weeks after that I've got another event booked in Queen Elizabeth Park down on the South Downs, and just put that last night. That's in March. So a few things coming up, but for today it's just a case of getting this run done and then off to London this afternoon to see Moulin Rouge the musical. So looking forward to that. This week I've thought I might drop a few pointers as to what I've been doing about recovery, because the longer the runs get, and they are getting longer gradually, the more important it is that you can actually get out there and run properly. So I would say the 3 things that I'm doing this time, which I didn't do when I trained for the Beachy Head Marathon back in October, are firstly, for no particular reason, I seem to have stopped drinking alcohol. Now, that can only be a good thing in terms of recovery as we enter the jungle. So, I wasn't a big drinker, but a couple of glasses on a Friday night, even that isn't going to help you run on a Saturday morning. So, that seems to have stopped, so that's going to help recovery. The second thing I'm doing, and I think this is the biggest thing that's going to make a difference, is the rollerball. And I've been sitting on a little hockey ball or fitness ball, whatever you want to call it. I'm just rolling it and sitting on that for a minute in places on my legs and particularly my butt and hips where it hurts. And although it's not much fun and it's not something I really enjoy doing, it makes a massive difference, I think, in terms of my recovery and just loosening off those bits and bobs that get a bit tight after you've had a long run. And the third thing is just a bit of good old-fashioned stretching before and particularly after each run, just doing 30 seconds on each quad and hamstrings, just to get them give them a bit of help. I haven't done a huge amount of stretching, but I've also done some pigeon stretches, which I think probably helps. I have quite tight hips, so anything that can loosen those off is a good thing. Going through a posh school somewhere, what's this called? Duke of Kent School. And it's getting foggier and foggier. There you go, check out the views. Pretty spectacular, hey? Good training for Snowdon. Get used to the views. The other aspect of my training that I haven't spoken very much about, which I have still been doing twice a week, is going down the gym. So a lot of runners complain about strength and conditioning work. But in many ways, that's what got me into this trail running lark, was that my PT got into trail running. Oh, here's some people. Morning. And so I have been doing that as well, so that must help for purposes of those hills in Snowdon. 6 times a week of exercise is probably the best that I can hope for, really. I'm not trying to be a world class athlete, just trying to get around the course, so I think it's sufficient, but you will never know until the day, hey? Wow, it certainly rained a lot last night. Some of these paths are more like rivers. Whew. Okay, top tip for any of you who stuck it out in the video this long. Go to my Strava, which I've posted a link at the bottom. And if you're looking for a 14-kilometre run with a decent amount of elevation in the Surrey area, then go to the run I did on Sunday the 18th of February 2024, and you'll find a really nice route through Holmbury and up Leaf Hill. A really good run through some really lovely parts of the Surrey countryside. You never know, if you do it in the summer, it might not even be waterlogged, you might avoid the waterfalls. So yeah, well worth it. One thing I would appreciate comments on is the point about elevation that I talked about last week. I'm finding it quite difficult to find any decent advice online as to how much elevation you need to do if you're running a 55k race with 3,300 meters of elevation. How much training do you need to do for that? In terms of elevation, it's lots of plans online that show you how much training you need to do for a marathon, which is basically what I'm following. But because the Snowdon race is relatively unique in the amount of elevation it has for the distance, there's not much online about that unless you want to pay for it. So, as I said last week, I'm doing around 1,000 meters of elevation per week in my training, which I know isn't huge, but really that's all I can manage because I live in a relatively flat area and I can't get any really sensible elevation done during the midweek. So what do you think? Do you think 1,000 meters of elevation a week is sufficient, or am I going to come up short when I try and do 3,300? Whee, slippery. Oh. Hello. Morning. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, he's a proper runner, he is. Got his 2 dogs. Yeah, I've also been testing out the Insta 360 flow, which is, I think, a good purchase actually. What I like about it is that it packs up quite square, but a rectangular shape, but it's not too long, and so it tucks nicely into a running belt. I also think will tuck out quite nicely into the Salomon vest. It's also good because it's got the tripod as well, which you can set up and just do a few shots as well, so that's a nice feature. But the quality of the pictures and the smoothness of this Insta I'm quite pleased with, so I'd definitely be taking this out on training runs. The only thing about it is it does require batteries obviously to run it, and I think over the course of a wet and windy Snowdon run, I think it's probably going to die quite quickly And I think I'll be probably better going old school and just sticking with the trusty selfie stick that's got no fancy gimbal on it. Whoa. Whew. Let's go, keep going. So what's other news? Well, other news is I had some new equipment arrive, which is always nice. I've bought myself a new Salomon Advanced Skin 12 running vest, which I'm quite excited about. It's got much more load capacity, I think, than my current vest. My current vest is really good, but I just think for filming and for stacking away the GoPro stick, and I think it's just got one or two more pockets that are going to really be useful for me. So looking forward to getting that tested. And I've also ordered the final piece of kit I think that I need, apart from a compass, for the mandatory equipment, which is the waterproofs. And as I said in my lessons learned video last week, got to get some good waterproof. So I got myself some good waterproof trousers. I hope they've had good reviews online. So I bought myself some Innovate trail pants, which are hopefully have got the right mix of being waterproof, windproof, and also not light enough, but not so light that they're going to rip at the first twig that brushes across them. So they are on their way. So at the moment I'm just coming to the end of my kit accumulation exercise, which is quite expensive, no question about that. But that's part of the fun of trail running, isn't it? You're gonna buy all the kit, buy all the snacks, eat the snacks, wear the kit, and hopefully get around in the cut-off times. Whee! Okay, well, thanks for joining me today on the run. It's quite a low-key week this week, but just keeping the legs ticking over, keeping training, just sharing a few of my thoughts, and just entering the middle, or the beginning of the middle section of the training. So hopefully the weather will start improving, getting less wet and cold, and that will just keep my spirits up as I enter that hard block in the middle of my 18-week training program, where it can get quite testing, and you have to remind yourself, why are you doing this? So looking forward to more training, making more videos, and I'll see you next week in week 7, when we'll be down in Dorset for the TEC Lulworth Cove half marathon. See you there.